So today we're going to take a look at what's going to happen if the Netherlands tries to form an empire in 2024. Now this video is going to be very unrealistic. All the events that are going to happen are purely fictional. And yeah, before we get into this video, I want to mention that major alliances like NATO, CSTO, the EU or the UN, they do not exist in my videos. If they would exist, they would not let these countries to expand. So yeah, join my Discord server, subscribe to the second channel. But now let's get right into the video. Now Netherlands right here is not in a very good position to form an empire, as they're surrounded by some very strong countries like Germany, France, the UK. But yeah, still, this video is for the Dutch, so they are gonna have to expand. So yeah, as of right now, their military is not too bad, but they're still gonna have to work on it, you know, make it to the top 20s at least before they start their first invasion. So yeah, it's gonna take them a lot of time to militarize their country, and if they don't militarize their country, they won't be able to expand. So yeah, we can see that the Dutch are coming up with military reforms. They're putting most of their money into their military, not all of it, but most of it. So yeah, they're also working on their navy, making it better and better every day, and it takes them a lot of time to come up with all of these military reforms. But after all of this time, we can see that the Netherlands is now ready for their first military campaign, for which we can see that they declare war on Luxembourg. Now you guys may say that, oh, the Netherlands does not even border Luxembourg. Well, before declaring war on Luxembourg, they asked Belgium for military access. So yeah, the Dutch troops were already on the border with Luxembourg, and we can see that they were able to take it out in weeks. Later on, we can see that all of Luxembourg got completely annexed by the Dutch Empire. So yeah, this was their first military campaign. Not a major one, but still they won the war, which now bolsters the morale amongst the soldiers. So yeah, the Dutch still work on their military. Years go by and their military is getting better and better. The neighboring countries still do not fear the Netherlands, as they're not too powerful. But yeah, after a while, we can see that the Dutch military is now pretty good, and they're thinking of invading a major country now, for which they had been building their navy, which now is very formidable. So yeah, after all of this time, we can see that the Netherlands now declares war on Denmark. We can see that the Dutch make a naval landing on the western parts of Denmark, securing all of the southern regions. So yeah, now most of the Danish military is focused right here. The Dutch use this to their advantage, as they make another naval landing on the eastern parts, pushing around, and eventually we can see that the Dutch were able to take Copenhagen, the Danish capital city. These parts surrender, and yeah, these troops still push around, securing all of these regions. The Danish troops right here fear encirclement like this. So yeah, in order to avoid more blood loss, the remaining parts of Denmark just go ahead and surrender, and this was a decisive victory for the Dutch Empire. Later on, we can see that all of Denmark got completely annexed by the Dutch Empire, and yeah, this was pretty good. Oh, and by the way, yeah, this kind of happened too. Greenland now is directly under the Dutch control. So yeah, the Dutch have a pretty big land area now because of Greenland, pretty strategic location too. And yeah, things are going great for the Netherlands, as no one is interrupting them too. No, I'm just saying that because if these countries were to stop the Netherlands from expanding, then they would not have their own video, which would kind of suck. So yeah, that is why no one is going to interrupt the Netherlands. And yeah, after a few more years of militarization and making their navy better, we can now see that the Netherlands is ready for another military campaign. And this time, unfortunately for the Belgians, they should have never trusted the Netherlands, as we can see that the Netherlands declares war on Belgium. And guys, quite unfortunately here, the Dutch had already placed a lot of troops in Luxembourg, and so the Belgians are fighting a two-front war. So yeah, let's see. We can see that the Dutch troops now push in, taking control of the Belgian coastline. We can see that the troops in Luxembourg also push up, connecting themselves to the main Dutch army. We can see that one Dutch army now pushes in, and unfortunately for the Belgians, they lost their capital city of Brussels, and from here, the Belgians lose pretty much everything. And after years of fighting, we can see that all of Belgium is now under the Dutch control, and later on we can see that all of Belgium got completely annexed by the Dutch Empire. Now guys, at this point, the Dutch Empire is actually pretty strong, as they were militarizing and they have control over a lot of regions. Their domain is expanding, so yeah. But now, instead of going after any European country, we can see that the Dutch Empire now wants some colonies. And I know the colonization era is gone, but my videos are unrealistic, so yeah, those happen. But anyways, yeah, the Dutch want some colonies now. And where can they get some colonies? Well, yeah, I'm sorry, Africa. Just kidding. We can see that they want a colony in South America, for which now we can see that they declare war on Suriname. I mean, already they had controlled this region for some time. We can see that the Dutch make a naval landing in the northern parts. This army now pushes around, and unfortunately for Suriname, the Dutch military was way better. We can see that they're losing ground every day, and after months of fighting, we can see that all of Suriname is now under the Dutch control. Suriname gets completely annexed into the Dutch Empire. And yeah, this is not the only colony that they want. We can see that they also go after Sierra Leone in order to have a military base in West Africa. And you know, in order to secure their position like this in the trade routes and stuff. So yeah, once again, we can see that the Dutch make a naval landing down here. Sierra Leone does not have a good military at all. And so once again, we can see that all of Sierra Leone is now under the Dutch control. Later on, the country gets completely annexed. They have one final country to invade right here, and that is going to be good old Sri Lanka. I mean, they had this for a very long time. So once again, we can see that the Dutch make a naval landing on the western parts of Sri Lanka, taking control of the capital city, after which the remaining parts of Sri Lanka just surrender. And would you look at this? After all of this colonization, they now get back to Europe, where we can see that they want to take out another country. This time it's going to be Iceland, which is going to further secure their position right here. And things are not looking good for Iceland, as they possibly cannot defend themselves against the Dutch. So we can see that the Dutch make a naval landing in the southern parts of Iceland, taking control of the highly populated regions of Iceland, after which the remaining parts of Iceland surrender. Iceland too gets completely annexed. And yeah, after invading all of these countries, the Dutch have a pretty formidable military now, as they're thinking of taking out a very major country right here. The Dutch want to declare war on Germany in order to connect these lands and, you know, in order to gain some land for themselves. But they cannot possibly declare war on Germany by themselves, because if they do so, they're gonna get clapped. So yeah, I know that this is never going to happen, but yeah, we can see that the Dutch were able to convince some of these countries to form a coalition against Germany. Now guys, as I said, this is very unrealistic, and we just wanted the Dutch to expand here. And yeah, well, the coalition countries include France, Poland, Czechia, as well as Sweden. And we can see that all of these countries declare war on Germany. So yeah, now let's zoom in. We can see that the Dutch troops now push into Germany, and they're doing their own kind of thing. They also push down from the north, and we can see that these troops were able to meet up. We can see that the French troops also push in, securing all of the southern regions. The Polish were able to push in, and they were able to capture Berlin, just because the Germans were caught off guard, and they didn't get any time to prepare. So yeah, the Dutch continue their push, securing all of these regions. But yeah, after all of this chaos, and after realizing the fact that they cannot win this war, we can see that the remaining parts of Germany just go ahead and surrender. And oh my goodness, in a peace negotiation, we can see that all of these German lands are under the Dutch control now. These other countries did not gain any land from Germany, because it was mostly for the Netherlands. So yeah, instead they got paid a lot of money from Germany, not war reparations, because Germany did not start this war. But yeah, you know, they saved some land for themselves. And yeah, at this point, after a few more years, the Dutch military is very good now. I'm saying very, very good. And what happens when their military is too good? Well, they can finally go ahead and declare war on France, even though they worked together, and the French did a lot of things for the Dutch. I mean, they started a war with Germany. But yeah, you should never trust the Dutch, because right now they're forming an empire. So yeah, things are not looking good for France, because the Dutch once again were able to convince some of these other countries to form a coalition. I know, unrealistic, but yeah. And yeah, what is going to be the result of this war? Well, let's see. We can see that the Dutch troops now push down. Their main goal is to get to the capital city of Paris. The Italians also push in, securing all of these regions, even though, you know, mountains, but still. The Spanish are also pushing in from the south, and the worst thing happens, where we can see that the UK makes a naval landing in the western parts of France, taking out all of Brittany, and the French are fighting a four-front war right now, and we can see that a huge Dutch army now arrives on the front lines. And unfortunately for France, they lost their capital city of Paris. Yeah, I think it was up here. But after losing their capital city, we can see that they start to lose land. But just like how the Germans did, we can see that the remaining parts of France just go ahead and surrender in order to not lose a lot of land. So yeah, let's take a look at a peace negotiation. And oh my goodness, once again, the French lost a lot of land, but at least they did not give up any land to any of these other countries. So yeah, you can just see how unrealistic this video was. But yeah, this is the Dutch Empire at its peak. So this is gonna be it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what you guys want to see in the future. And thank you for watching.